Waiting for the Fall is brought to you in part by these fine sponsors. Scorpion Optics, quality rangefinders, rifle scopes, and binoculars. Don't get stung by off-brands, buy Scorpion. Blind Ambition Bail Blinds, a new innovative way to fool those wary eyes. Stealth Outdoors, your tree stand silencing store and the originators of the bark silencer. Product and promotional consideration by these fine companies. So it's Friday morning, September the 9th. Joe Rentmeester and I are on our way up to Nova Scotia, Canada, going back to Cobequid Outfitters on our annual bear hunt. We're hunting the first week this year, obviously. Last year we were up in late in the year, cold weather. Bears are already starting to den up. This year Jamie's got bears hitting every one of his baits, and he's got multiple bears hitting baits. So we should have a real good week this year, excuse me. But we're just outside of Chicago. We just crossed the Illinois-Indiana line. We're about 10 minutes into Indiana. And we're going to try and pull straight through. We got 25 hours to go. It's about 7:15 in the morning. Nova Scotia 2011. We've actually been up here since Saturday, Joe and I have. This is Wednesday, September the 14th today. I've been sitting the last 2.5 days in the stand with Steve Alleman, waiting for the fall pro staff. We were on a bait that Jamie had pictures and video of a huge sow that had a little white blaze on either side. She was pushing 400 pounds, but
We sat that bait for one whole day straight, 12 hours, and then yesterday we sat it again another just about 8 hours and another 4 hours today. So we've got 24 hours in on that bait. The only thing that showed was possibly two different bear. One bear in the morning we didn't get a real good look at. It was not the big sow, but it looked like it might have been a decent bear, but it was really hard to tell because it was just so thick. And then it circled the bait. It didn't come into the bait. Yesterday afternoon then, at about 5 o'clock, we had either the same one or another one. We could definitely see it was too small a bear. It was about 120, 130 pound bear. Just not big enough, not what Steve wanted to shoot, and he didn't come into the bait. He skirted the bait. So they were just being real cautious around there and not really hitting the bait very hard. So after seeing nothing this morning, Steve and I both moved down to the camp. We were hunting up by the house in a different area up by Oxford. We're down by Harrison Settlement now. And Joe and I are in the stand. Steve and I split up. Steve has another fellow that's in camp with us that tagged out last night, running the camera for him. And Joe tagged out last night. Congratulations to you, Joe. Tagged out on a nice sow with a nice blaze on her. So he's running the camera for me, so we're setting a bait that's been hit typically in the middle of the afternoon, but we'll see. Bear right there. Bear right there. See it? Yeah. Okay, get the camera on it.
Don't go anywhere, folks. Waiting for the fall. Be right back. Now, before the break, you saw us hunting with Cobequid Outfitters of Nova Scotia, Canada. I was doing my pre-hunt intro when a bear so rudely interrupted me. Let's see what happens. Now this bear was super cautious as it came in. Many times you can see it's scent checking, putting its nose in the air, trying to get our scent. It's actually almost directly downwind of us. And luckily, when Joe and I got into the stand, we brought in a couple of hang-on stands and some climbing sticks, and we got about 23 to 25 feet up in the tree. I think if we'd have been lower, this bear would have winded us and probably not have come back. Now this bear is within 25 to 22 yards of us most of the time here, but as you'll see, he's always behind brush or he's got the wrong angle that he presents for a shot. So I really never get a good shot angle, and he never really stops when he's in the clear. So I never had a good opportunity to put a good shot on him. So I elect to wait, let him go, and see if he'll come to the bait.
That's through the lungs, man. That's through the lungs. He can't even moan. He's got so much blood in his... Hear that? Oh, man. Gotta be 200, I bet. I didn't really judge him on the barrel because I got too focused on what I was going to shoot. But when he came across here, I was looking at his head the whole time, and I'm thinking that's gotta be... You know, he looked a little bit long-legged, but he looked long-bodied too, though. I think so, yeah. Big old pumpkin head. It did, it hit the camera. That's alright.
But I got the shot with you finder for sure.
I'll tell you what, folks. I was doing an intro. When we got in the stand, about 4 o'clock today. And we had to set a couple of hang-ons, a couple of lock-ons. And Jamie, the guide, said, oh, you guys aren't going to be ready to go until 5:30. 5:03, baby, we killed ourselves a bear at 5:03. Doesn't sound like it's very far, maybe 50, 60 yards in the woods there. I think we'll give him probably a half hour or so, and then we'll go try and blood trail him up. We'll have good light yet. All we gotta do is go in and find him. But anyhow, I was doing an intro. And all of a sudden I said to Joe, bear right there. And a smaller bear came in. And he skirted around and he started to come towards the bait. And I was turned the wrong way. I had to turn back around, grab my bow off the tree, and then spin all the way back. And I asked Joe to watch the bear for me so I could move when he wasn't looking. And I turned, and I saw a bigger bear come in behind him. And Joe and I were confused as to if it was the same bear or if it was two different bears. It was definitely two different bears, because then we were real quiet for about a half hour, 45 minutes. And that smaller bear came in and he circled the bait, circled downwind of us. He was trying to wind us the whole time. And he ended up going back up around behind the bait again. And Joe said, look behind the bait about not more than, 2 minutes after that little bear went in. Look behind the bait and this big bear was coming. And you could hear him chase that one off. He huffed at him and then all of a sudden crashing branches and everything just busted all over the place. That was probably, another 10 minutes. And he came pretty well right in. He didn't commit right away. He came downwind of us. Then he committed and he came right into the bait. And as spooky as both those bears were acting, I didn't want to let them tear into the bait and get a whole big show. I wanted to take the first good shot I had. I let him get settled in. I drew and he stuck his head in that yellow bucket. Let him get settled in and he committed to going at the barrel and I put the smack on him. I am pumped. That is awesome. Thanks, man. Thanks for being in the tree with me, Joe. All right. Nothing better than sharing this with somebody, nothing better, nothing better. Whew, that feels good after 2.5 days in the stand of only seeing one, maybe two little bears. And running the video camera for my buddy Steve. And now the first night out, not even, hour and a half into it, we got a whack one. It's awesome, it's awesome. This is what waiting for the fall is all about, man. The fall is here, man. This is just awesome. I love it. I love it.
This segment of Waiting for the Fall was brought to you by Scorpion Optics. Don't get stung by off-brands. Get Scorpion.
Let's go see if we can't find that big bear. Come on. I think that arrow's that broadhead's gonna stay here, I think. Oh yeah. Nice bubbly lung blood. That's what we like to see. Got blood all the way right here. A little spray right here. Through here.
Down through here, there's blood on both sides. All kinds of blood on the log there. Now, we heard that bear gargling back here. It sounded like it was trying to moan, but it was, lungs were full of blood, throat was full of blood. Even so, we're not sure that that bear is dead, so we're going to stay on this blood trail. We're being a little louder than what we normally would be, but I mean, we're 99% sure that bear's going to be laying here. But good point is, you always blood track, even if, I mean, we figure that bear's probably about 40 yards from the bait. We could take the easy way around, circle in, probably walk right up on it, but that's not a good way to do things. You always stay on the blood trail and make sure you've got last blood just in case something goes awry. You never know what can happen with these animals. They're tough. Now it's just dumping out here. And I think I see my bear. Right through there, Joe. See him? I'd say he's pretty well done, but we're going to knock one up just in case. Looks like a good bear, eh?
Sure does.
It's going nowhere, but you never know with dangerous animals. They can be unpredictable, so you always want to be safe. We're in a bow hunt area only, so no sidearms in Canada and no backup guns. So. He is done, my friend. That's a nice bear. Whew, that T1 did a number on him. Look at the bubbles coming out of his lungs. Whew. Oh, look at that pumpkin head on that. Put this away or I'm going to get stuck with a broadhead here. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to get out of here. Look at that big pumpkin head on that bear. That's a nice bear. That's what we come to Canada for. That was fun. That was a blast, man. That was a blast. I couldn't be happier with this bear. Look at the pad on this guy. I don't think you'd want to run into him late at night in the woods and you're on his bait. You saw on the video there was smaller bear that came in, and right when we were doing the intro, smaller bear came in. I said, Joe, there's a bear coming in, and right after that, this guy, I'm almost positive, was following him up, and he was kind of pushing him around a little bit. And about a half hour later, they went off away from the bait. They never did come in, but about a half hour later, that little bear came sneaking around and was circling downwind of us, trying to get our wind. And he circled back, and I thought he was going to come into the bait, and I just wasn't sure if he was as big as I thought he was. I wanted him to get to the barrel so I could judge him and be sure. And I had a shot on him at about 25 yards, but he was walking. I didn't want to take that shot. And I'm glad I didn't, because I don't think that was the same bear that this is. And what was it, about 4 seconds after he went into the thick timber here behind the bait where this guy took his final resting place here, another bear, Joe, says, hey, there's a bear right behind the bait, and he was crossing back this way. And all of a sudden you hear whoo, whoo, and all kinds of noise and brush breaking and crashing, and you knew it was this guy chasing that other little one off his bait. He didn't want him around his bait at all. He wanted those donuts all for himself. We're just going to go back in. We got all the guys rounded up, got Jamie and the boys, and we're going to go back in and try and haul the bear out. Woods is so thick we couldn't get the four-wheeler in there. We'd have to cut too much. It'd take us all night to cut all the saplings and stuff. So come on along, let's take a look at that big bear. Beautiful bear, bud.
That's a
Beautiful bear.
Look at that coat.
Look
man.
at that. Huh?
He said he was
You ain't getting no better than that,
No,
bud.
no.
Nope. 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 Waiting for the Fall is made possible by these fine sponsors: Scorpion Optics, rangefinders, binoculars, and rifle scopes. Don't get stung by off-brands, get Scorpion. Blind Ambition Bail Blinds, a new innovative way to fool those wary eyes. Stealth Outdoors, your tree stand silencing store. Product consideration by these fine sponsors. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's show. Tune in next week when we'll have another exciting adventure. But until next week, remember to take a youngster in the outdoors and pass on our hunting and fishing traditions to the next generation.